It's DeAndre. Welcome to another edition of Talking Shit. And you're not going to believe it. Guess who's here today? Ladies and gentlemen, Patty! Patty is here live in studio. My God. This is a Talking Shit historical moment. A landmark moment in our broadcast. Patty will also run this show on the podcast. Patty, how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah, I can't believe you're here.
I made it.
Here. Wow, she made it here.
Fresh off the 91.
91, yeah. How hot is it?
Oh, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
You live out in the desert area. It's
Yes.
hot there. It's even hot.
When
it's hot here, it's hell there, right?
We flooded last week.
Flood? Like a flash flood?
Yeah, we had 3 inches of rain in an hour. And
Oh
we
my
flooded the garage.
gosh.
The pool raised up and started coming out. There was about that much water, and it came to the back through the garage.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a good thing there's no such thing as global warming.
No.
So, the reality of it. You're so here. I love discussing Dick Cheney with you over the phone because I don't think you hate him as much as I do, but I just think he's an ass. What do you think about Dick Cheney?
I think he's a war criminal. Let's just put it that way. He
Right.
should be a war criminal.
I really believe you.
And I can't believe that people still ask him his opinion.
On anything!
You got us in this big mess, and now you're going to tell us how to get out of it? Okay,
Right.
I don't think so. No.
I think Dick Cheney is mentally ill, and I was suggesting that maybe even if we had to pay for it a little bit, I mean, Halliburton gave him $20 million, but shouldn't he be in like a rest home or something for like...
With John McCain. Thank God for John McCain's service to our country, but you know, at some point the brain cells just go.
They're sort of a Thelma and Louise sort of a partnership. They just go over the cliff. Okay, and I know one of the big issues. Ladies and gentlemen, also, right now I want to bring in a friend of ours who's an advocate for our work. He's always helping Patty with certain current events, and that would be Larry. Larry is here also. Hi, Larry.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
good
look
evening,
at Larry.
to the world.
I got to say hair on my lips. Larry, I'm really happy that both of you are here. Larry, tell me about the NFL. What's going on? Because I was in the hospital for 2 days. So can you give me an update on like what's happening strategically as far as their business and like who the chairperson is, or what is this title?
The commissioner.
This commissioner. Who is the commissioner of the NFL?
Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell. Tell me about him.
I think he's been in the office of, 2-3 years, something like that, and he's just the owners just steer him through everything. I mean, this whole thing right now, there's a bad PR. They've got the lawyers writing up all the statements. We listened to one on the way here on KNX, and a reporter asked him a direct question, and he just skated right around it.
He doesn't.
And even the news moderator said that he didn't answer the question. It was really interesting. So they've got a big dilemma here because it's a $10 billion a year industry, and
$10 billion.
they lose.
Roger Goodell makes $30 million a year.
As a commissioner.
And none of them pay taxes.
They don't pay taxes?
That's the biggest thing, right there. No taxes.
Who doesn't pay taxes?
The leagues, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and I'm not sure about hockey. I imagine the same thing with them. They're exempt from a tax. It's something tied in with the way the leagues are structured. I don't think it has to do with antitrust or what.
No taxes.
Yeah. So I mean, they've been
People in the military should not pay taxes.
Right.
Oh gosh.
But professional football, you gotta be kidding me!
And
They don't pay taxes.
And you're starting to realize the damage that the game is doing to these people because of how they're reacting within the family structure.
Right.
You know, I mean, they can backpedal and say, well, it came from the way I was raised, but the thing is, you learn from the way you were raised and make it better. You don't go back to the way you were raised if it wasn't a good way, and that's the thing right now. They're finding out that these guys are hitting each other, causing brain damage.
It's a violent culture.
It definitely is, but it's a money-making culture, and that's the thing that gets glazed over.
It's an old boys club.
Right.
That old boys club starts in the college level. Look at Sandusky and all the stuff he got away with.
Yeah.
All those years, and those supporters just keep throwing money.
That money
and those, I feel bad. Those players should get some money too, because the college players are not paid a nickel. a lot of times they don't have enough money to go buy themselves
Okay,
food.
wait a minute. Let me explain this to me like a third grader on medication. You mean to tell me that the NFL and these professional folk don't pay any taxes at all?
No,
And that the people in college, the
they
athletes...
can't pay them to be college players. So they can give them a scholarship, but they can't
They don't have
legally
any-
buy them a new car or give them any money. And a lot of times those guys don't have money to go to the cafeteria and buy food.
I wonder how much these college leagues make as
Oh,
far as...
the
Millions.
NCAA is another. It's another whole atrocity that's been getting away with this for years, and with the players, you know, and the football players from Northwestern University outside of Chicago tried to unionize. I don't know if they successfully did so, but it was a news story in the last 6 weeks. But I don't know what that culminated in.
It's the Old Boys Club, and it's run by the Old Boys Club. And look at all the football players that are, you know, doing rapes on campus and all the junk that goes on campus. It starts there, and they just go into the
So
NFL.
they finance the insanity of it.
Yes.
What about... I was watching the other day where, you're right, there was a college player that did something over the weekend. Everybody lied for him. They finally found out what the truth was. And then they ban him, and then they bring him back, and then they ban him and move him around.
The quarterback for Florida State, Winston is his last name. His first name slips my mind, but they banned him because they've got a game coming up, and I'm not that astute on college football. They've got a game coming up. They banned him for the first half of the game because they can't afford to lose the game, so they banned him for the first half. And he's going to come in and play the second half of this game.
Oh my God!
it's-
Come on!
Florida State and somebody else. It's just
Florida State.
It's really absurd. It was, the kids.
Just, it's terrible. An Old Boys Club. And now who was the guy that was doing the dog fighting?
Oh, I
And
like
he was
that.
back in, and he's just
Oh, he's
like
just back and making the money
a
and the
big
big
star.
bucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a petition. I cannot believe that these people are not paying taxes. It's something that just really enrages me.
They throw tons of money at the players, and the players are just so mesmerized by the money they don't feel.
How much money do you think, like an average, not a superstar, Larry, but like
I-
a rough estimate?
I couldn't imagine what an NFL minimum wage player is. It's got to be in 6 figures at least. I mean, in the high 6 figures, I would think. And it's only a 14-game season.
Are you
but-
sure they're not paying taxes?
Well, the players probably are, but the league's not.
Oh, the
league
league.
doesn't.
Now, how much does the league make? They're making...
The league, like I said, the league's a $10 billion
But
a year
don't they
enterprise.
take all the money from all the teams and put it in a big pot and then divide it?
What do they call
Isn't
that?
that how
Revenue
they do
sharing? Revenue sharing. And I think they do that. I'm not sure if they do it in football, but like in baseball, the smaller community teams like Kansas City versus New York, I guess the best example would be in baseball. The Yankees make so much money, the revenue sharing, I believe, is greater because a team like in Kansas City, it doesn't make as much money, so they got to spread it around. I don't know how they adjust that, but over the
That's
years,
how
it's been
probably
adjusted.
how they get away with the no taxes, is if they're all
They're
sharing
spreading
a
around
pot.
and
But this
It's
has
a
been going on
flim
since the
flam.
20s.
What were you telling me earlier off camera about the spread and the effect that when these stars get thrown off or on, how does that affect the game?
You know the cottage industry is the betting. I mean, Vegas and every place that betting on college and pro games, if it's highest a player held in high esteem doesn't play, it affects that team's chances of winning. So these guys in Vegas or whoever calculate the point spreads, the over and unders and whatnot, based on the staffing of the players, the injury list, the degree of injury on the players, and other components. But if they ban these players like Adrian Peterson with Minnesota, who are not a very good team, it affects their
Standing.
bottom
Standing
line.
on the side.
Yeah.
Once again, a quick reminder, I'm sitting here with Talking Shit consultants, Larry and both Patty. First time in studio interview. Last thing, let's switch gears. What's going on with the war? What do you think about the Middle East? Now, I've always looked at it as sort of a Hatfields and the McCoys kind of a situation. You, on one of our podcasts, tried to give me a historical breakdown of what's going on. Do you think ISIS is stoppable, or shouldn't we are we going to just bomb the shit out of them, or what? How do we handle
Oh, it's
this?
ridiculous. We've been fighting this war forever, and we shouldn't even be going back there. I just read an article that John McCain and Lindsey Graham are good friends with the Saudis. Now, they say the Saudis want this war
Oh.
because the Saudis want to rule Damascus. So they've got to get the Syrian leader
out of here.
Out of
Al-Assad, out of here.
Yeah, they want him out so that Saudi Arabia can run Damascus. So they are the ones that are pushing our American senators toward
backing
war. Get in the war, get in the war, and we're going to do all the dirty work for them because they want to get in there. It's there's like, what is the guy's name? It begins with a B.
Bandar.
Prince Bandar. He is the one. They are Sunnis. They hate the Shiites. So the Shiites are in Syria and Iraq, and they hate them, and they want to get them all out.
Genocide.
So they can take. So there's
So it
sort
can
of
be
a
a Sunni
nationalist fight between people who really want to run their own country, and they are attacking and fighting back if people want to rush them out. I think it's an underground cartel system of the oil brigade. I just
Well,
really
where do
believe-
you think that the Saudis get their money?
Yeah, I just think it's just like who's going to run the oil? Aren't we sort of like the gas station attendants, us in Israel? We're sort of like those guys that used to run out and wipe your windows and stuff and you put the oil in your car. That's our job.
Are we the policemen for those?
Oh, that's what and this is our last topic. I want to talk about the domestic erosion in our own country. How we can't pay for schools and toilets and public bathrooms in the schools. We can't give teachers decent wage. We're giving all the high-end people the best tax breaks in the world. And the people who barely make or have any money have to struggle for Social Security, struggle for domestic value of themselves. Isn't it backwards?
It's ridiculous. The inequality in this whole thing. And with the 100-degree days out in the valley and all those kids that didn't have air conditioning in their rooms, and it was 103 degrees in their classroom.
Isn't it financially too why they won't let kids go home and be able to breathe?
But they've got rocket launchers.
I was just thinking about how much money the Department of Defense is spending on giving these police departments all this equipment, all these bazookas, all of that stuff. And then when your kid says, I need a little money to go learn, then you're a burden. You're a problem.
Misplaced priorities.
Right. And one of my friends, Robert, who is also a consultant on our show, Robert says that the Department of Education makes more money, almost as much as Google, through student loans.
An example is where I grew up in Chicago years ago. They privatized the janitors that service the Chicago public school system now. They put all these, like 500 janitors in the Chicago school system out of work. They got privatized. Now you got these companies coming into these schools where your children go, these strangers, coming in to service the schools, and we don't know what the reputation of these people are. I mean, when I grew up in school, I mean, all the people on the staff, from the principal to the teachers down to the janitors, you knew all those people. You saw them every day through your 10 years.
They're part of the community.
And they were familiar with you, and they were good people. Now you got a bunch of strangers doing that. And I think in the formative years of an educational system, you want kids, beyond what they're dealing with the metal detectors and all that, getting into school and stuff, just to have a familial atmosphere. You're right, because it makes a big difference in how they go home and deal with their parents, because let's face it, all families are dual income now.
Yeah.
If possible, because you don't have a stay-at-home mom much anymore. So they've really got to they really got to step back and look at this. And then the other side of it is the school funding your college education.
Right.
How many people are going to be able to pay off their scholarships? It's going to be impossible. It's going to be very difficult, and it just exponentially is growing because of B of A and other banks and the way they've got the system set up. And it goes back to Wall Street, how invincible they are.
They run the world. We're running out of time. Last minute.
Yeah.
Patty, what do you like? Larry's sitting here telling me that the government is basically protecting the banks protect the governments, and like you and I were talking on the phone, the police department, this militarization of our country, they just sort of enforce what rules are going to be set to get the right amount of money to run everything. That's basically what's going on.
I think they've got us under their thumb with all this fear, and even the police are going around going, they shoot before they do anything because they're so afraid, I really think
It's sad. It's really
you know,
sad.
and
We saw all that stuff in Ferguson, and you were talking about how it looked like the heat of the night. That I used to watch that show too.
Oh, yeah.
And it is. It's just sort of a weird, like it's almost like draconian. It's like a caveman time period on how to sociologically deal with each other. We revert
Yes.
back to these really old things that have already been sorted out. And I just feel uncomfortable with all this stuff.
regressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women have to be on the lookout. You know, minorities have to be on the lookout. Everybody is the youth. Everybody
They got
is.
us into the spear cycle here where everything is going regressive. Even the ISIS people.
Okay. We gotta go. That's it. That's all the time we have. Patty is under the weather, and so am I, and we've been dealing with everything. The healthiest guy on the planet is Larry here, and he's going to be making a chocolate cake for us when we visit in the microwave. We gotta
That's
do
right.
that.
The Swedish chef will be appearing soon.
What's it called? The cake?
Was it microwave cake?
Microwave chocolate cake.
Yeah, it's an old family recipe.
Yeah. All right, we got to turn the fans on. It's too hot in here. Thank you. That's all the time we have for now. Thank you guys for showing up. Bye.